What's going on, guys? It's Tom, or Top 10 Wrestling, and welcome to the 5th episode of the worst of TNA. And wow, this might be the longest a series on my channel has ever run. I mean, today technically isn't the worst of TNA. In fact, what we're going to be discussing today took place after TNA had officially renamed to Impact. So, I guess this is the worst of Impact episode 1? Nah, it's still going to be the worst of TNA episode 5, and I'm putting TNA in the title because if I put Impact in the title, this video will not do good, and if you cry about that, you are a baby. Today we're going to be looking at the strange case of Austin Aries' departure from Impact and the circumstances surrounding it that took place just last year. Before we do get into it though, be sure to subscribe with notifications on. According to my analytics, the majority of you guys aren't watching these videos, so be sure to subscribe, it'd be really nice. And yeah, cheers, let's get right into it. So this incident involved Austin Aries and Johnny Impact, aka John Morrison, aka Johnny Nitro, aka Johnny Mundo, aka whatever you want to call him. But the main culprit of this story is Austin Aries, so I think it's worth discussing what he was doing before this incident happened. Austin Aries has had a very storied career, and overall, his name is very synonymous with TNA and the indie scene as a whole. He first broke out during his first stint in Ring of Honor in 2004, it would see him capture the world title and even feud with CM Punk in one of Punk's last feuds before he left for WWE. He would also win the tag titles with Roderick Strong, as they were both a part of a stable called Generation Next, also with Alex Shelley and Jack Evans. Crazy to see where everyone in that stable is now. And during this time in Ring of Honor, he would make a one-off appearance for TNA and he would wrestle a match with Christopher Daniels for the X Division title at Sacrifice to a losing effort. But TNA officials were very impressed, and Aries was not signed to TNA when this match happened, but since the officials were very impressed, they decided to sign him and he would become full-time with TNA following a scandal with Ring of Honor's owner, and overall, his first run with TNA wasn't actually all that eventful. The only things that really happened was him and Roderick Strong got suspended for 2 months because they were 4 hours late to a show, which, my god. He also rebranded to Austin Starr while in TNA and not Austin Aries, and his final days in TNA saw him get a 90-day suspension before getting released in 2007. The reason for the suspension supposedly stemmed from TNA asking him to shoot a vignette promo on what Aries believed was his day off, and though he would shoot the promo, TNA saw this as bad attitude and suspended him, and during his suspension, he would request his release, and it was granted. Aries would go back to Ring of Honor between 2007 and 2010, where he would be the first person to ever become a 2-time Ring of Honor World Champion when he won the belt in 2009. He would leave the company in October 2010, and as he was being successful in Ring of Honor, TNA saw it in him and thought, hey, let's bring him back, so he made his return to TNA in 2011, and this run would last between 2011 and 2015, and this was the run where he would become one of TNA's biggest stars and really make a name for himself within TNA. During this time, he wrestled as Austin Aries and not Austin Starr, and really he just dominated every division he was in. He won the world title, he won the X Division title 6 times, and was also the tag champion with Bobby Roode. He would leave TNA in 2015 after a very successful run, and a run that made his name synonymous when talking about TNA, and he would then join WWE NXT in 2016, and you know, his WWE run was, it was weird. He made his debut and his first feud was with Baron Corbin, which he would win when he defeated him at NXT TakeOver Dallas, and from there he would feud with Nakamura because Aries wants to face the NXT champion, but Nakamura wanted it too, so they had a match at NXT TakeOver The End, which Shinsuke did win. Aries would turn heel and would feud with Noe Jose. Yes, Noe Jose, because he was actually kind of a thing in NXT and actually kind of over, and he would defeat him at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn too. Unfortunately, Aries would get injured in October, and this would lead to him transitioning to a commentary role for 205 Live, but of course he would return to the ring, and he would return as a wrestler for 205 Live rather than NXT. He turned babyface and would begin feuding with Neville for the Cruiserweight title. And I really look at this era as kind of the prime of the Cruiserweight division, with Neville as champion, feuding with Aries. He challenged him at WrestleMania 33 first, which was a match I was there for live in the stadium, and it was damn good, you know. Neville did win that match, but Austin Aries would challenge him another 2 times on pay-per-view for the title at Payback and Extreme Rules, but once again, he never actually captured the title. And then seemingly out of nowhere, Aries was released from his WWE contract on July 7th. Many fans were confused because he was a good wrestler, good on the mic, over, and just got out a prominent title feud that had him wrestling on pay-per-views. However, reports came out that Aries was not that liked backstage and had quite a bad attitude. So just from that you can see a bit of a pattern with his backstage attitude. But it was okay because Aries would once again return to Impact, this time in 2018, and would very quickly capture both the Impact World title as well as the Grand Championship. Remember that title? Future video on that. He would feud with El Patron, the Lucha Bros, and retain the title in these feuds in very good matches, though he did actually lose the title to Pentagon at one point, but would win it back very shortly, and Pentagon had a very bad world title reign, one of the worst in Impact history. He would then begin a feud with Johnny Impact, aka John Morrison, aka... Okay, I'm not doing that again, whatever. And this is where it gets interesting, and this is the main story of the video. The feud began to blur the lines a lot, with some very heated Twitter exchanges between the two, which saw a mad tweet in particular from Austin Aries' side. Johnny tweeted out making fun of Aries' height, which prompted this response from Aries. Ah, the form of discrimination that's still super cool. Short shaming. If I joked race, retards, your gay look, if I fat shame your husky wife, instant outrage. But you can just predictably cut on me over my height, genetics I don't control, and it's just funny. This tweet would be deleted the next morning after Don Callis supposedly had to call Aries to tell him to delete it. And Aries would clarify later in an interview with the Wrestling Observer, saying he doesn't condone the use of any of these words, and the point he was trying to make was that he could use any of these words and people would be outraged, but no one cares when Johnny Impact does this cheap short shaming. Johnny and Austin had their match at Bound for Glory 2018 for the world title, with Johnny ultimately beating Aries for the title. But it's what happened after the match that really had people talking about it. Don't get me wrong, the match was good, but everything that happened after it was very, very eventful. Johnny Impact won the match with a Starship Pain to get the 3 count, but after that 3 count, Aries immediately got up and left the ring, basically no selling the move. On the way out, he flipped off the fans and cursed at Don Callis, and everyone was so confused. It was unknown whether or not this was a work or not, due to the nature of the feud, which really saw the lines very much blurred, but then people on one hand also thought, hey, this might be a shoot because of Austin Aries' really bad backstage attitude. But afterwards, Aries was never seen in Impact, and reports claimed that Bound for Glory was the last date on his contract. And this would suggest that this might be a work, but to this day it still remains a mystery whether or not it was. Johnny Impact did an interview in December 2018 in which he says he believes Aries has deep-seated issues within himself and that Aries didn't handle himself well that night, which would suggest that yeah, maybe it is a shoot. But then Aries himself did an interview just 2 months ago where he claimed that he pitched the idea to walk out after the match because he was planning on coming back to Impact and extending his contract and wanted suspense around his return. It should be noted though that he never actually mentioned if this pitch was accepted by higher ups or not, and also he went on to crap talk the Starship Pain, saying that it's a very weak finisher. He said he didn't actually no sell it because he was down for the 1-2-3, but he got up for the 4-5-6. This interview was very weird. To this day in 2019, it's still not known whether or not this was a shoot, but regardless of whether or not it is, it's still a very bad look on the company, because on one hand you've just let this guy walk out, on the other hand you have, you know, if you've done it on purpose and if it's a work, then it's just stupid, it's just a bad angle. And with conflicting reports such as the Johnny Impact interview where he says he thinks it's a shoot, but then Aries saying he pitched it, but then everything suggesting it could be a work, but then Aries' backstage attitude suggesting it could be a shoot, it's very complicated. And it remains unsolved whether or not this was a shoot or not. And with that being said, that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, smack that like button. I'm going to try my best to upload tomorrow. I'm not going to promise anything, but I hope you did enjoy this video. It's my first real Impact discussion for the worst of TNA. So let me know any other Impact incidents you'd like me to see, some more recent stuff. I've got loads of videos planned for December. I'm finished with uni, by the way, so I'm going to have so much time to upload videos and I can't wait. But yeah, give this video a like, subscribe and notifications on. Check me out on Twitter at Top 10 Wrestling. My Instagram is at AmTomBell. Subscribe to my second channel, linked in the description. I'll see you all soon. Goodbye, and keep on rolling.